Hello everybody, how are you all doing? Welcome back to Dan-Ger, where every day is an adventure. And today we're in England's second largest city outside of London, and also has more canals than Venice. That's right, I'm talking about Birmingham, which never even used to be on the maps, just a small village. But how did it get to this sprawling metropolis we have today? Let's go and find out. So here we are on one of the oldest canals still existing in Birmingham, made famous by the gladiators in the 90s. So Birmingham has 35 miles of canals, which is said to be more than Venice. They're enjoyed by walkers and cyclists and narrowboat owners, and they are reminders of the unique industrial history. During the Industrial Revolution, the canals were busy waterways transporting coal, iron and other heavy goods. They played a crucial role in development of Birmingham and the Black Country. Most of the canals were built in the 1700s and the 1800s, and at its height, the BNC, that means the Birmingham Canal Navigations, had more than 170 miles of them. One of the first built was the Duke Bridgewater's Canal. It carried the Duke's coal from inside the mines 15 miles to Manchester and was finished in 1761. Most of the engineering work was planned and surveyed by James Brindley. Brindley was a millwright by trade and one of the most notable engineers of the 18th century. He worked on 6 canal projects in the Midlands. For 170 years, the canal system was bustling with activity. Towards the end of the 19th century, the tonnage of goods carried increased, reaching 8.5 million tonnes in 1898. Although the canals were profitable, they were costly to build and maintain, and in 1820, Thomas Telford was employed to inspect Birmingham's canals, which had severe maintenance problems. He suggested an overhaul of the canal system, which included the straightening of many canals. As canal industries declined, the railways and roads took over, and long-distance transportation of goods used by the canals decreased. By 1980, all commercial traffic had stopped. Over the years, the canals fell into disrepair. However, many have since been restored and their surroundings improved, with parkland, housing and many stunning modern developments, creating vibrant areas with shops, restaurants, bars and entertainment. In the Saxon 6th century, Birmingham was just a small settlement in a thick forest. The home, or ham at that time, geography played a major role in the transformation of Birmingham from a hamlet worth 20 shillings in 1086 into Britain's centre of manufacturing in the 20th century. It was a dry site with a good supply of water at a ford across the River Ray. There was easy access to coal, iron and timber. The de Birmingham family held the lordship of the manor of Birmingham for 400 years, from around 1150. In 1166, Peter de Birmingham obtained a market charter from the Henry II, and in 1250 William de Birmingham obtained permission to hold a 4-day fair at Whitson. In addition, the family allowed many freedoms for their tenants, and there were no restrictive obstacles to trade. Developing as a market centre, Birmingham also saw the beginnings of a small-scale smelting and iron workings. Craftsmen were listed amongst the taxpayers in 1327. When Leonard visited Birmingham in 1538, there were 1,500 people in 200 homes. One main street with a number of side streets, markets, and many smiths who were selling goods all over England. By supplying the parliamentarians in the English Civil War with swords, pikes, armour, Birmingham emerged with a strong reputation as a metalworking centre. By 1731, the population had grown to 23,000 and manufacturing businesses thrived. By the time of the Industrial Revolution, Birmingham had become the industrial and commercial centre of the Midlands. So here we have St Martin's Church. The present Victorian church was built on the site of the 13th century predecessor, which was documented in 1263. The church was enlarged in the medieval times, and the resulting structure consisted of a lofty nave, central north and south aisles, and a northwest tower with spire. In 1960, the church wardens dressed the church in brick. John Cheshire rebuilt 40 foot of the spire in 1781, which was straightened by an iron spindle running up its centre of a length of 105 foot. It was secured to the side walls at every 10 feet by braces. In 1801, several metres from the top of the spire were replaced after they were found to have decayed. The tops of the four pinnacles surrounding the main spire were also rebuilt. By 1808, the spire had been struck by lightning 3 times. So, shall we go and take a closer look and maybe have a look inside?
Grab it for somebody else.
We have the resting place of the Birmingham family member there, look. And if we look up there, you can see the old medieval stonework joining the new. Here we are, everyone, the oldest building still standing in Birmingham. The Nazis couldn't take it, and it's older than your nan's net curtains. Oh, it even predates St Martin's Church, because who needs to pray when you can get pissed? So here we are, the old Crown Inn building, Birmingham's oldest building. It was built in 1368, and some parts of the original building still exist, although most of the old crown dates to the early 1500s, when moderations were made to the original property. Queen Elizabeth I is said to have stayed in the old crown in 1575 whilst travelling from Kenilworth Castle and slept in the gallery chamber above the main entrance. It is now a Grade 2 listed, meaning it's defined as the UK building of structure that is of special interest, warranting every effort to preserve it. It is thought to have been originally built as a guide hall and a school of St. John. The earliest documented evidence of the building's use as an inn is from 1626 and it being called by the sign of the crown from 1666. 1666 did he say? Sounds familiar. The building, however, was converted into 2 houses in 1684 and then converted into 3 houses in 1693. It remained 3 houses until the 19th century. In 1851, Joseph Tolsman Smith, that's how I pronounce it, saved the old crown from demolition when proposals were made to improve the street. Again in 1856 and 1862, the corporation promised to demolish the building. Smith saved the building each time. He's a hero, isn't he? In 1991, a local pub company owned by the Burnin family bought the old crown. In the summer of 1994, Pat Burnington and his youngest son, it's a man called Pat, not a woman. Anyway, and his youngest son Peter were doing repairs and cleaning out the old sheds at the rear of the property when they found an old well which had been closed off for more than 100 years. Is there any bodies down there? Lassie would have told us, wouldn't she? Is Lassie a female dog? Now restored, it is situated at the rear of the pub entrance at the end of May 1998 under the guidance of Pat and Elin Bernard and their sons Patrick, Gary and Peter. After the family's £2 million investment, the old crown was restored to its former glory and reopened. Today it is now a popular pub and a winner of the best traditional pub at the end of 2019. Oh, so there you have it. That's all the history you could possibly want from the place. So there we go. Thank you all for watching. Hope you learned something and enjoyed it. If you did, hit the like button, subscribe if you're not already, and I'll see you all next time. It might be a while because I'm going on a little adventure. So, take care of yourselves, stay safe out there. Cheery bye.